Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and welcome to my new desk setup tour. So it's been about 9 months since I first shared my desk setup, and since then quite a lot has changed. And as more of us are working from home these days, hopefully this video will be of interest to you. So if you follow me on Instagram, this desk isn't new, I've been sharing it since August, but it was time that I thought I would do a tour showing you everything that I've changed. So I'm going to cover each item that I've got, where I got it from, how much it cost. I've also linked to every single item in the description of this video in my kit list. So if there is something that you like or something you want to purchase, be sure to check that list out first. Also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video as well, as it really helps me out. So the first thing that you'll notice about my new setup is I've removed the two Alex drawers that I had in blue. Now, although these looked great and they were really practical as well, they left me with quite limited room to move my legs. On top of that, I really wanted to get myself a standing desk as well. I wanted to remove the need to be sat down from anywhere between 5 and 8 hours a day if I didn't need to. So I swapped the drawers out for some smart desk legs from Autonomous. Now this is the DIY kit that they do, and this comes with just the legs and the motors. It doesn't come with a tabletop, and it means that you can use your own if you've got one like I have already. And then you've just got all the parts in here that you need. So you've obviously got the center bar, the legs, the motors, the brackets, the control panel, the control box, and that's what everything plugs into. And that's pretty much it. And then putting it together was easy enough. You just slot everything together. And what's great about these legs is they can extend anywhere between 40 and 73 inches wide. So that should fit most spaces. Then I attached the top, connected the wires up to the control box, and that powers the motors. And then I spent about 10 minutes deciding where I should put the control panel. Now this little control panel here, well, it comes with 3M tape on the back, so you can just place it wherever you like. And this is the keypad that lets you move the height up and down of the actual table. So just by pressing and holding the arrow keys, you can adjust it manually. So you just press and hold until you're happy, and then you just let go. And then once you've figured out the best sitting and standing height that you obviously use regularly, you can just save these settings within any of the 4 numbers. So for example, I have number 1 set as my sitting height, and then I have number 2 set as my standing height. And then when you just tap the number, it will then move it to that height straight away, so there's no need to hold it. And as for the motor, the noise, they're quite quiet as well, so have a listen to this. Price-wise, you can either go for the home office legs for about $320, or you can go for the premium legs for about $390, which is what I went for. Now, the only difference between the home and the premium legs are the height that it can go to. So either 28 to 47 inches in height for the home, or 25.4 to 51 inches for the premium. So I went for the premium option because it means I can go lower if I want to, and I obviously can go higher as well. Now, these legs are really, really heavy as well, and they're absolutely solid. So there's very little wobble at all, especially when moving up and down. And even when shaking the desk as well, or when you're stood there and you're leaning against it, it'll easily handle 130 kilos in weight. So you could literally sit on it. So it's very, very solid. So as for the wood that I've added to the top, well, this is actually just a kitchen worktop from a DIY store here in the UK. So it's the same one I've been using for the last year or so. It was part of my previous desk setup. It cost me £140 or about $190, and that was for a 3-meter piece. So it's a solid oak worktop, and then I cut this down to fit the space that I needed. I sanded it back, I stained it to fit in with the darker style that I wanted to achieve. Now, it measures about 160 centimeters wide by 60 centimeters deep, and what I've done then is I've attached the 4 legs with just 4 wood screws. So the stain that I've used is called American Walnut, and I gave it 2 coats plus a clear wax coat on top just to protect it as well. And I think it gives it a nice rustic but very clean look as well. So I really like the look of this. I think it's different. It's definitely different to the standard IKEA worktops that most setups seem to go for. So yeah, that's enough about the actual desk itself. Let me show you some of the other items that I've installed or that I'm using on a daily basis. So one of the biggest things that I needed to upgrade on my last desk setup was the monitor. Now I was using a 24-inch Dell screen. It wasn't anything special. I didn't really talk about it at all in my last video. But this time I've changed to the 27-inch LG. And this is the QN880. And this screen is a massive improvement for me. So the first thing to note though is it's not a 4K screen. It's only 1440. Now a lot will say that's not enough, which I would agree with. But the image quality, the colours, the brightness of the screen is really, really impressive. It's only when I go back to my MacBook that I really notice the difference. Now, one of the biggest features of this screen, though, is the arm that it comes with. So this clamp here, well, it's actually part of the screen, so it comes with it. Which, to be honest, it's so good they should be selling it separately. So once it's clamped onto your desk, you can then tilt it pretty much any way that you'd like. So you can tilt it up and down and left and right. You can swivel it out, you can push it back. You can even rotate the screen from either landscape into portrait. So I can't quite show you this portrait mode because of the shelf that I have underneath, but it gives you an idea of what you can do with it. This also means that it frees up some space on your desktop where you'd usually have the stand or the feet from the screen. And this bracket alone sold me, so yeah, I think it looks absolutely awesome. Then as part of the arm itself, or this tube that's on the side, well, this is where the cables can be hidden inside. So as the screen is HDMI and USB-C, I've actually hidden all of my cables inside, keeping it pretty clean looking. I'll show you how I do my cable management a little bit later. And what I really like about this screen is that it's matte and not glossy. So it means I'm no longer seeing reflections from my window to the side during the day, and the viewing angles are pretty good as well, so especially good for an IPS panel. Overall, I'm really happy with this screen, and having used it for about 5 to 8 hours a day, pretty much every day for the last 2 months, I can say it's a decent screen as well. And then under the screen, I've got this little stand, or this shelf here. So this is a Walnut monitor stand from a company called Grovemade. So it gives the option to put a monitor on top, or in my case, a speaker, and it still gives you room to store things underneath as well, kind of out of sight. So I usually keep my MacBook or my keyboard and mouse under here when I'm not using them. And then on the left-hand side, on this little felt shelf, this is where I'd usually keep my notebook or papers and things like that. So actually, this little black notebook, this is what I use for writing my video ideas down, or my planning for my videos. So I manage a lot of my videos digitally in spreadsheets and so on, but sometimes it's easier to write them down as there's fewer distractions this way. Then under this shelf, I've added a desk tray, also from Grovemade. So this is designed to obviously fit the space. So this is a metal tray, and it keeps some of my daily items in it as well. So I've got things like pens and pencils and cash, and even my PlayStation Vita. I've been looking for black plain pencils for ages, and I finally found these. So there's no branding, there's no markings at all. And these were only about £2 for a pack of 10 as well. And then price-wise, well, the stand is £170 or $220, and the little desk tray underneath it, that was £90 or about $120. So it's not cheap, it really isn't cheap, but it looks nice. It gives me some organisation without looking cluttered. Also, it keeps with the walnut sort of colouring and theme that I've got going on my desktop. And then looking at the keyboard and mouse that I'm using, so I'm using the Logitech MX keys and the MX Master 3. So in my opinion, this was the best combo that I could find when I was looking earlier this year. So I use both Windows and Mac on a daily basis. So I needed a combo that I could switch between both devices quite easily, and this is perfect for my setup. So I just tap the button on the keyboard and the mouse, and I'm switching between the two quite easily. Now they both can be charged on USB-C as well. I actually have a retractable USB-C cable plugged into the back of the monitor. So when I need to use it, I can just pull it down, stretch it out, and I can actually plug it into the devices. And what's great is I can still use the devices while it's charging as well. So if you want to know more about this awesome keyboard and mouse, I actually did a review on it a few months ago, which surprisingly has got a lot of interest. It was something I wasn't expecting. So yeah, I think it's an awesome keyboard, and it's definitely something that I enjoy using every day. So I've been wanting a new desk pad or mouse mat for a while now, and I was either looking at getting a leather one or a fabric one. The problem with most fabric ones that I found was they either fray or they snag when you're using it with a mouse. But I found this one is just perfect for the job. So it's pretty soft as it's made from wool felt, and it doesn't scratch or move around the desk as well. So I went for the medium size, and it costs about £50 or $70, but they also do it in a smaller size and a larger one as well. And I think it fits nicely in again with the dark wood and the grey theme that I've got going on. So while I'm working, I like to have music playing in the background, so it's usually some kind of chilled hip-hop playlist or a lo-fi beats. Now, as I'm not using speakers on my screen, as I wear headphones when I'm watching or editing videos, I opted for this Harman Kardon Citation 1 speaker instead. So it was a really nice speaker. It's a good alternative to the Nest audio speaker if you're with Google Home or using Google Assistant. It's pretty bassy though, and it's really, really clear. So as it is a Google Assistant speaker, it means I can use it during the day for voice commands, such as playing music from Spotify, turning the lights on and off, or turning the heating down. So this speaker can be bought for about £150 or $200. Now, although I'm using a standing desk, I obviously spend about half of my time sitting down, and the chair that I'm using is the autonomous Ergo Chair 2. So I've been using this chair for about 9 months now, and it's held up pretty well. I mean, to be honest, it looks as good as the day that I first built it. So there are no squeaks, there's no damage, there's no real wear to it at all. And I use this every single day. Now, what I like about this chair is it's proper supportive, it has loads of adjustments, and it still looks nice as well. Now, I know there are loads of gaming chairs out there, but I wanted something that was a bit more aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, 9 months in, I'd say it's even comfier than the day that I first built it, and this costs about £250 or $340. Now, my room has a carpeted floor. I personally prefer carpet to hard floors, but the problem with that is it means moving a chair like this around is really difficult. It's a real struggle. So what I did was I picked up one of these floor mats to go under the desk. Now, there are loads of different versions out there, so if you look on Amazon, there are dozens of different floor mats. Most of them, if you have a look, they're really cheap, they're really thin, they're quite flimsy, and they will flex when you stand on them. And when they turn up, they're usually rolled up, so you have to kind of flatten them out to try and iron out any creases. That's how thin they are. Whereas this one, it was £40 or $55 from Amazon, and it's really thick, really heavy, and it has loads of spikes underneath as well, so it digs into the carpet, so it won't move at all. And it came as one solid piece, so this is impossible to roll up. If you try and roll it, you'll crack it or you'll snap it. So let's take a look at the cable management. Now, something I've said before in my previous setup videos is I hate seeing wires or cables. I really don't like it. So I actually spend a lot of time trying to hide them. And my desk setup is no different. So under the desk, I'm using an extension socket, and this is just stuck to the desk itself, and I'm using a metal tray that I got from IKEA as well. So this is just screwed into place with 4 screws, and if I want to take it off, it's quite easy. There's just 2 screws either side. You unscrew these, and the actual tray will drop down as well. So if you want to swap wires out and plugs out, you can do so. And then any loose wires that I've got, I've actually just stuck them to the underside of the table. I've just used some black insulation tape, so nothing fancy. So there is one power cable that goes from the desk setup down to the floor. Now, I've tried to hide that as best as I can, but as the desk does move up and down, I obviously can't stick it in place, otherwise it will stretch, and obviously it will stop the desk from moving up. So the bottom half of the leg, I've strapped the cable, and you can see here I've done it with insulation tape. And as you move up, I've actually created like a loop with just enough cable here that when the desk is at its fullest height, it means that the cable is stretched. And as the desk comes all the way down again, it basically creates a loop. So you can't quite see it unless you're under the desk, but it means there's enough extension there for it to move up and down quite easily. So yeah, I'm really happy with my cable management for this setup. And to be honest, I think cable management is underrated. It's surprising how many setups that you do see on YouTube or on Instagram, and people just have all the wires out. And I think, in my opinion, it looks cluttered, it looks untidy. So just by hiding the wires alone, just spend 10-15 minutes sticking them to the desk legs, hide them underneath the desk itself, I think will make a massive improvement for most desk setups. So let's take a look at the machine that I'm using on a daily basis. What powers my setup? Well, I'm still using a 2018 MacBook Pro, the 15-inch. And honestly, it's absolutely perfect for what I need it for. It really is. So I've used it every day, and I use it for editing photos, writing emails, editing these videos that you see on the channel each week. So I've not had a situation yet where I feel like it's not quick enough or that it struggles with anything that I throw at it. So in the world of YouTube, I'm using an old system. Why have I not upgraded to the M1 MacBook Pro? But honestly, right now, I don't feel like I'd benefit from it. I'm happy with the system that I've got. Now, in terms of storage, I'm using 2 SanDisk Extreme SSDs, and I use this for storing my footage on and my backups and things like that. Now, I've also got this small USB-C dock as well, and I use this to plug in any devices that cannot be plugged straight into the Mac. So it's quite rare that I use it, but I've obviously got this as well. And I think in the future what I'll probably do is I'll stick it to the desk somewhere. So whether I stick it under the desk or under the monitor stand. And then what I'll do then is I will route a USB cable from the back of this into the Mac or into the screen. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet. And as for the lighting that I'm using in my setup, well, as you've probably seen, I've got a few different lights going on. So the first one that you'll notice is the LIFX Beam that's on the wall. And this is an LED strip, and it lets me have any color combination that I'd like. And as it's modular, you can basically create any line or angle or pattern that you'd like. So I've opted for this L shape. Now the beam costs £150 or $200, and then stuck to the back of the desk itself, I've got a LIFX Z strip. And this gives a nice glow both up and down, so above and below the desk as well, as it's 10 centimeters off the wall. Then behind the screen, I've got another LIFX Z strip, and that's stuck to the back of the screen itself. Now, both of these strips can be a combination of any color as well. So whether you want a solid white, which I often use during the day when I'm working, or a kind of a retro 80s vibe, then you can do that as well. This can all be done via the LIFX app, or you can do it via voice commands in scenes as well. So these strips are about £80 or $100 each, and they are Wi-Fi controlled as well, so you don't need a hub. And then to the side of my screen, I've got this floating LED light bulb from a company called Flyte. And it's got a rose gold detail to it, and it's floating on top of a walnut wooden base. And I really, really like this. It fits nicely in again with the dark theme that I've got going on. But it's just basically a combination of magnets, and it allows the bulb to float in midair. And as it's floating, it also powers it as well. So you line it up, you kind of wait for it to grab it, and it hooks on. You can feel it as you're kind of hovering above. And then once you let go, it just floats. And then all you need to do then is you just tap the actual base itself, and that will then turn the light on and off. But yeah, so I think this bulb looks absolutely awesome. Now, it's not cheap. So this bulb costs about £250 or about $330. So that's a lot of money for a bulb. But it definitely looks different, and it's definitely different to anything else that I've seen. Now, if I get enough interest, I will create a dedicated video on this gadget alone. So this light bulb, I will create a video on this alone. So a few other things I've got on my desk as well that I use on a daily basis. I've got this wireless charger here. This is also from Grovemade. Now, I've had this for a few months now. This was way before the iPhone 12 was announced, so before any kind of MagSafe chargers existed. Now, I think this is fine. I use this on a kind of a weekly basis if I forget to charge my phone the night before, so it's nice just to have it on here. I've also got a coaster here. Now, this is similar fabric to the desk mat, but it's not from Grovemade. It's actually just a cheap one from Amazon, to be honest. I think it was a pack of about 8 or 10, and they were about £10 from Amazon. So again, that's linked in the description. And And then the plant that I'm using here, this is called a Sansevieria, if I've said that right, which is perfect for me as I need very little water and are quite hardy as well. So it's fine for in the sun or in low light. And then I've potted it in one of these light grey pots as well. I just picked this up from a local garden centre, so it's nothing special. And then on my walls and my shelf above my desk, not a lot has changed. So if you've seen my previous desk setup tour from April, you'll see that it's very, very similar, to be honest. So I've got my Be Fearless print on the wall. Some might say this is naff, but for me, it's a constant reminder to step outside my comfort zone and to keep moving forward. And then on my shelf, I've got my original matte black chili bottle. I've had this for a number of years now, like 3, 4, 5 years, I think it's been. I've also got other bottles I use on a daily basis, but this one just sits here on my shelf. Then I've got this PlayStation icon print, and I've just made this in Photoshop, to be honest. I just printed it off, and then I stuck it inside of this box frame, so you cannot buy this anywhere. It's just something I made myself. And then I've got my 12 Pro Max box as well. And again, this is a constant reminder that this is all I use to record the videos on this channel, so nothing else. All the videos on this channel are recorded with this iPhone. Then there's this small fake plant, which I probably should change at some point. And then I've got this DJI mobile gimbal, and I use it quite a lot, so I'm actually using this for this video as well today. Oh, and something that a lot of people keep asking for is what colour are your walls? So the wall colour is called Chic Shadow, and it's from Dulux. It's the same colour that I've been using for about 8 years now. It's the same colour in the living room. It's the same colour behind my desk as well. So if you're interested in that, it's in the kit list, but it's just called Chic Shadow from Dulux. So yeah, this is my 2020 desk setup tour, and this is where I sit and stand for about 5 to 8 hours a day. Now I really like it. I think it's got enough personality in it, which makes me feel relaxed, and it's also a really productive space to be as well. So I know that I can sit here and I can get stuff done, I can concentrate without any serious distractions as well, but it's also somewhere I can sit and chill if I want to watch and listen to music and so on. So what's next for the setup? Well, to be honest, last time when I did my desk setup tour, I reeled off a massive list of changes I wanted to make, and I've done them all, to be honest. I've done every single one. But this time I have no plans, I really don't. I might change to a 4K or even a 5K screen if I wanted to. I might change to a new MacBook M1 Pro, but I don't have any intention to right now, so that's something that'd be, way into next year if I did so. And what do you think? Is there anything that you would change or add to my standing desk setup? Whether that's the desk itself, whether that's the screen, the keyboard, the mouse. Is there anything that you would change or anything that you would add to it? And you've just made it to the end of this ridiculously long video, so thank you for sticking with me. And if you drop a standing desk in the comments, I will give you a thumbs up, as I know you're still here, you've made it to the end. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it really does help me out. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content from me. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time.